Hello and welcome everybody to the Research for Life Town Hall. We're delighted to welcome you and we're in party mood because it's Research for Life's 25th year this year. So we're celebrating and we're really looking forward to sharing with you some of our plans and to kick them off. So I wanted to start, I'm going to just start by sharing my screen so you can see the slides. Okay, everybody see my slides? Super.
Thank you.
So to just begin, as this is an STM webinar, I need to begin by reading out the antitrust and competition statement. So STM is committed to complying with all applicable competition and antitrust laws. Webinar participants must refrain from disclosing or asking about competitively sensitive information and shall not solicit any agreement regarding any competitor's conduct in the marketplace. If a panelist or audience member believes any such information or agreement is being disclosed or sought, that individual should promptly interrupt to point out their objections and request that such activity be stopped and leave the webinar if it does not. Any such communications shall promptly be reported to STM staff. So thank you for that. So now over to our agenda for today. So we have a really snappy format today. We have speed talks, 5 minutes from various different members of our team, and Kimberly Parker, so our Chief Operations Officer of Research for Life and the Programme Manager for Hinari, is going to monitor the Q&A box, but also keep us to time. And the plan is really for each person to speak for the 5 minutes and then the 5 minutes for Q&A after. So we hope we'll have a really interesting session and do put your comments in the chat and any we can't answer, we'll attempt to answer afterwards. So without further ado, I'm going to kick off by handing over to Lise, who's our Chair of Research for Life and the Executive Council at WIPO.
Thank you, Sarah. I hope I have a little elasticity on my 5 minutes, Kimberly. So here we go. Our achievements for 2025 and a few words about our funding challenges. So with this, we're going to do a little recap of SDG Goal 17.6, which is fundamentally about equitable knowledge exchange and not one-directional transfer. It emphasizes three models: North-South, traditional, South-South, peer-to-peer, and triangular cooperation, multi-party, multi-region. The emphasis on science, technology, innovation, and knowledge sharing aligns directly with scholarly communication ecosystems. And as we know, access alone is insufficient. Participation, authorship, and leadership are the true markers of progress. So Research for Life's work operationalizes this SDG within the research and publishing infrastructure space. So how does Research for Life translate this global mandate into concrete transformation? Next slide, please. So the core statement: an inclusive, diverse, and equitable scholarly communications environment that enables lower income researchers to address societal challenges. So this is the shift from access provision to ecosystem transformation. Inclusive means researchers can access content, they can publish, and they can influence research agendas. Diverse means geographic, linguistic, recognition of different knowledge systems. Equitable, reducing structural publishing barriers, addressing APC inequities, and supporting research visibility. So the ultimate objective is not publication volume, it's enabling researchers to tackle local and global societal challenges. So this transformation is codified in our 2030 strategic plan. Next slide, please. So let's cover these three items on the side. Beyond donation, historically, Research for Life operated under a content donation paradigm, and donation models were inherently asymmetric, and the shift towards reciprocity, co-creation, network scholarly exchange have happened, and this includes capacity strengthening, publishing partnerships, community-driven research initiatives. The goal is sustainability, not dependency. Global participation next. Access does not automatically lead to representation. We want researchers to be present in high-impact journals, editorial boards, and global research collaborations. Research4Life aims to amplify voices, increase visibility, and support research discoverability. And the success will be measured by authorship rates, citation patterns, and cross-regional collaboration metrics. Lastly, local empowerment. Sustainable research ecosystems must be locally anchored. They must be strengthened by institutional research offices, library networks, and national research platforms. This empowerment includes training in research integrity, open science practices, and data stewardship. The objective is long-term self-sufficiency and regional leadership capacity. So these strategic pillars are already generating measurable impact. So let's look what happened in 2025. So user-led, we had 2 more country connectors established, making the total 14, including Uganda and Angola. And our comms focused more on in-depth user stories, curated and shared via newsletters, social media, countries, specific names, and faces, showcased real impactful examples, and linked back to the SDGs. Evidence-based, our first impact report was published, highlighting statistics like 11,500 institutions registered, 6 million portal page views, 75% increase in health science publishing based on a 2024 report. The impact report featured case studies based on interviews with people directly involved in the initiatives described. We identified lessons learned, and we offered inspiration. The third Country Connector annual report was published, and I want to highlight some of the detailed case studies in a couple of minutes. But these annual reports in particular track key performance indicators and really worth looking at if you want to see what all that happens in a year. Knowledge bridging, well, we have our RISE 360 initially set up by our FAO partner, a short, modular, and mobile-friendly learning environment meeting the needs and expectations of our users. And you'll hear about this more about this from Mercy. Targeted training. In 2025, there were 2 courses organized by the Directory of Open Access Journals, the Academy of Science of South Africa, and Research4Life. The first one, it was offered in 4 languages, English, French, Spanish, and Ukrainian. And these were an accredited course for those who completed all the modules. In that course, we had over 760 participants. The second course was in Portuguese for the Portuguese-speaking countries, and there were 4 sessions of 111 participants, a really successful initiative. This online self-paced course was aimed at publishers, journal editors, and managers. Quality regional publishing. So the new journals covered by DOAJ, which were included in Research4Life, 203 journals were added in 25, which included titles from Algeria, Egypt, Iraq, Libya, Morocco, Nigeria, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. If we look at positive gender impact on publishing output, there was a WIPO study featured entitled Digital Access to Knowledge in Women in Science. And this study took a look at the staggered adoption of Hinari program, where digital access to health science research, and the authors analyzed effects of women's participation in research production, looking at 600 institutions in 80 countries. That's a study that's well worth checking out, especially as we just celebrated International Women's Day. So next, success was in technology. We onboarded 30 institutions for single sign-on via the UBUNet Alliance project in 25. We're up to 67 institutions and already growing more. These institutions are being integrated, and diverse institution categories and regions globally, demonstrating the increasing momentum towards secure and seamless access to Research4Life's resources. If we look at relevant quality content, focus groups built on a gap analysis survey. So practical information was garnered from some 65 participants from various institutions across Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, representing NGOs, universities, and other educational institutions. Content gaps that were identified. These are the high points. There were many, but amongst others, entrepreneurship, business, IT, AI, post-conflict reconstruction, climate change, and medical information. The content that was requested, medical and business databases, expansion of specific publisher collections and titles, and lastly, training on AI. And we are looking at this output closely as we speak. Sustainability. Last year, we went to Oxford. We were graciously hosted by Oxford University Press. So in addition to our annual general partners meeting, we had an in-person half-day Action for Equity conference focusing on hope, gender equality in research, Ukrainian resilience, and a spotlight on our funders and their commitment to the impact of Research4Life. Next slide, please. So let's look quickly at 3 country connectors, these case studies worth highlighting. We'll begin with Bhutan, who has over 156 institutions registered with Research4Life. And it includes hospitals, health colleges, government agencies, and research bodies. Access alone, however, does not guarantee use. So since 2019, more strategically under the country connector model, Research4Life Bhutan has focused on turning access into routine use in teaching, research, and health practice. So Bhutan is one of the strongest examples of the country connector cascade effect, which through his work as a country connector, Pushunto, sorry for my pronunciation, Norbo, has been able to significantly develop his own career while deepening his contribution to national research and health systems. The experience and visibility gained through Research4Life enabled him to participate in international training courses and to engage more actively in professional networks and committees. This personal trajectory illustrates how the country connector role not only strengthens national capacity, but it also builds individual leadership that in turn attracts further investment and support for Research4Life activities in Bhutan. Next, we have Ukraine's country connector based at the State Scientific and Technical Library, which has turned Research4Life into a lifeline for science and education during wartime. In 2025, the the SSTL coordinated access for over 600 institutions and delivered 23 national webinars and over 200 individual consultations, reaching over 3,000 participants, of which 68% were women. This support has helped Ukrainian researchers maintain remarkable levels of productivity and visibility. Together, these efforts show how the Country Connector model can sustain research continuity in crisis while strengthening Ukraine's long-term research infrastructure and its contributions to global science. Our third Country Connector to feature is El Salvador's, hosted by CBUES CBUS, and has positioned Research4Life as a core enabler of research and teaching across the national higher education and health ecosystem. Innovative content, sensitive approaches underpin this progress, as it built up a digital hub model around a dedicated Research4Life webpage, chatbot, continuous WhatsApp and email follow-up, active use of institutional and social media challenges. Research ambassadors were integrated into virtually all activities, enabling peer-to-peer learning and scalable outreach. Together, these efforts have improved information literacy, integrated Research4Life more deeply into library and academic workflows, especially in regions beyond the capital, while aligning national efforts with the WHO and UN priorities on universal health coverage, quality education, gender equality, and digital inclusion. Wow. Okay, next slide, please. Funding challenges. Lastly, so 2025, we were target of zero. So zero gained, but we had no overspend. This year, we predict a shortfall of over 107,000 to cover just our core operations, including IT, communications, content management, and capacity development. We have put mitigation measures in place, prioritizing our operations spend, but this means regretfully needing to cap our Country Connectors project and not onboarding new Country Connectors this year. We need to reduce their participation in the general partners meeting, which is just so unfortunate. And we are undertaking a financial sustainability review to see what needs to happen going forward. Lastly, due to UN cuts and lost posts, we are in a certain situation where dealing with renewals and customer service triage are beyond a challenge. So not to gloss over the funding challenges, but to say that yeah, we're in a little bit of a situation that needs urgent attention. So, not to let that be the, the overarching feeling of my words, I would like for you to think of my previous 10 minutes or so of how these stories demonstrate movement from access to agency. They illustrate the SDGs in practice. They validate our 2030 strategic direction. Research4Life is no longer defined by what it gives, it's defined by what it enables, a globally inclusive research ecosystem where knowledge flows multidirectionally and researchers everywhere can contribute to solving our shared challenges. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Lise. So you're just only 1 minute over. And if anyone has any reactions or comments that they want to share, I highly encourage you to put them as Q&A, because Lise and others can answer any questions that might have popped into your mind during this opening. And perhaps some of our later speakers will be the ones answering your questions as they give their presentation. So I hand it over now to Nazra and Matt, and I will go hide until their time is up.
Thank you, Kimberly. The first slide, please. As we continue striving towards more equitable participation in global research, it becomes essential to listen directly to researchers experiencing barriers. I'm therefore pleased to share an important initiative from the Equity Committee, our upcoming researchers survey on barriers to equitable participation in global research. It's designed to capture those barriers and inform more responsive and inclusive strategies. So basically, this work or this survey aims to better understand the challenges the researchers face, particularly those in resource-constrained settings, and to ensure that our strategies are grounded in real evidence-based insights. More specifically, as shown on that slide, the survey aims to identify barriers to equitable participation in publishing, networking, collaborating, and accessing published scholarship for individuals and institutions in low and middle income countries, with the goal of developing solutions to overcome those barriers. Next slide. So to ensure we obtain a full picture of the challenges faced by researchers, we have developed a very comprehensive and robust survey questionnaire with various questions across the various thematic areas that are listed on that slide. That is networking and collaboration conferences, professional membership, research funding, publishing preferences, peer review and editorial roles, language needs, and lastly, the demographic information, which includes institution affiliation, discipline, career level, so as to help us ensure that the findings accurately reflect the diversity of the researchers across the LMICs. Next slide, please. So that is what our timelines look like in terms of rolling out this survey. We are currently in the process of identifying the most effective options for developing a comprehensive mailing list, potentially through sources like Scopus, regional networks, and other similar platforms. So we are currently focused on survey testing, which is essential for ensuring clarity, relevance, and seamless functionality before we roll out the survey. Just like any research, we want to establish strong reliability and validity. We plan to deploy the survey in April to allow us to begin collecting initial global insights shortly thereafter. And in the months of May to June, we will be dedicated to deeper, more granular analysis of the survey data. Next slide, please. The findings of the survey that we are rolling out will feed into the Research4Life's transformation goals, that is an inclusive, diverse, and equitable scholarly communication environment that enables lower income researchers to address societal objectives. Therefore, if by any chance we reach out to you for your participation in this survey, we respectfully request your cooperation, as the responses will be vital towards generating the evidence needed to shape our collective responsibilities and to guide Research4Life strategic objectives and priorities in a meaningful way. Lastly, we would like, as the Equity Committee, to express our appreciation to Elsevier for their support in fine-tuning the survey questions and also extending their support in administering the survey. Thank you very much for your attention.
Well, you were remarkably to time, Nasra. I'm so impressed. And that leaves good time for at least one or two questions now. If anyone has a burning reaction to this wonderful opportunity to dive into researchers' needs in this area, you can raise your hand or you can put a question into the Q&A for Nasra and Matt to respond to. And if no one else has a question, I have one myself that maybe will kick things off, which is how many answers to this survey are you hoping to get? Is it, like 100, 1,000, 10,000?
We're hoping in
Mark?
the thousands, yeah. And the main thing is we really want the answers to come from researchers in the Research for Life countries. And that's what we're working on now is the Scopus mailing list has a lot of those, but we worry that might only include people who've been successful as authors. So we're looking to connect with these regional mailing lists and other mailing lists that Research for Life has to make sure we're reaching people at every stage of their career in all the countries covered by Research for Life. So I'd really like to get every country represented.
That
I
sounds
think
like,
just to add
go
on
ahead,
to
Nasra.
Matthias, Kimberly, we are actually quite ambitious with this because we want to get a good survey out and a good product coming out from this.
Well, it sounds like it's going to really give some useful insights, and the approach is really intended to be equitable in giving everyone an opportunity to contribute their experiences and their thoughts. So wonderful. And if there are no further questions or hands, which I'm not seeing, we can thank Nasra and Matt and move on to Mercy.
Thank you, Kimberly. Hello, everyone. Next slide, please. I am here to report on the RISE 360 project on behalf of the Capacity Development Committee. So, like a little bit of background, most of you know that the Capacity Development Committee, we have been running massive open online courses to actually capacitate Research for Life users on how they can effectively use the programs. So the MOOCs were launched in 2019 and they've been running until last year. We had our last MOOC, which was the 9th MOOC. Last year in 2025. So the MOOC has since been retired. So like FAO, actually decided to refine some of their materials that were in MOOC. That is the lesson on Agora and the sister program that is Agris into short RISE interactive courses. So when we realized that these were successful, these are just short courses, like 30 to 45 minutes. And we actually recorded high usage of these courses. And most of the participants reported that they found the courses more interactive. So this actually prompted FAO together with the Capacity Development Committee to develop a proposal to refine all the 21 lessons into short RISE courses, MOOC lessons into short RISE courses. So we presented this proposal to friends, and fortunately enough, in July last year, we got the first round of funding, and the capacity development chairs, that is Lenny and Jehane, decided to actually start with 5 short courses. And I was engaged as a consultant to develop these courses. So like the courses, as you can see on the second column there is on Research for Life overview and access, the unified content portal, mastering Research for Life, someone, writing for research, and navigating the publishing workflow. So these lessons or these courses are actually ready to be launched in April. That is next month. So they will be hosted on the iTalka Moodle platform, and like the links to the courses will be provided on the Research4Life training drop-down page, together with the courses Agora and Agris that were developed by FAO. So we'll be having seven out of 21 courses like on the training drop down menu. Like we anticipate that the usage will be higher than the MOOCs, because often users were complaining that the MOOC materials, they were very long and they were too text heavy. So most of the users couldn't complete the courses, and so they wanted something that was more interactive. So next slide, please. So what is RISE 360? So RISE 360, for those that are that are quite familiar with e-learning, it is actually part of what is called Articulate 360. So like it enables you to develop interactive courses that can be accessed from multiple devices. It's friendly to to the computers, to the tablets, to the mobile devices, and we included videos, quizzes, scenario-based learning, and also some knowledge checks like in between. So on the board, you can see some of the screen captures of the interactive elements that we have used in these courses. So the first one, that one that is written Research4Life Overview and Access, it is the main page. So you click on the start button, then you go into the course. And as I said before, we also use some videos. So on the next screenshot, you can see like the video. So you can go through the video, and some of the contents, we have also included some audio, because the licensing that we have also come with the audio component. So we've got quizzes and knowledge checks, as you can see on the third screenshot. And finally, we also have some scenario-based activities. And there has been a demand for courses with AI, and like about AI, ethical use of AI, indicated earlier in the presentation. So we have actually included like ethical use of AI in the writing and publishing course. So like we were also privileged to get 20 free translations with our licensing. So we are going to be translating the 5 courses into 4 languages. So this brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mercy. This is actually really exciting to see that this is coming. We want to know when. So are there people who have questions for Mercy? I'm seeing lots and lots of applause. And again, if you don't manage to get your hand up quickly enough, you can always type something in the Q&A. I am not yet seeing any hands. So maybe once again, I'll step in and ask a question myself. How heavy is the bandwidth use when you're interacting with one of these courses? Is it heavier than the old MOOC courses? Is it going to be a problem for some of our users?
No, it's not very heavy. And like on the outputs, other than adding it onto the onto Moodle, a learning management software, you can also like download the course as a link. You can download as PDF. So it's not very heavy. So I'm sure our users will find it more useful. Yeah, thank you.
That's wonderful. I am
Thank you.
seeing a chat. So there's a question from Kelly Cohen saying, which languages will be selected for the translated courses?
I'm not quite sure, but I think I don't know if Jehan and Lenny are here to answer that question, but I'm sure we'll go with like the main UN languages like Arabic, French, there's Russian, I don't know.
I see
Like I think,
Jihan is ready to answer that question.
okay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mercy, for the great presentation. Actually, this is the first time that Mercy is presenting the 360. So she's now the expert in this field. Regarding your question, the question for the language, I think we will start with the English and, sorry, with the French and Arabic and Spanish. If we have the sufficient fund, we will start with these four languages, and then we will complete, go ahead with the Russian as well. So we are waiting for the fund and to decide to start this language, and I prefer to start it all together, same we did like have done with the presentations, for training presentations. We finalized all the language, the six language all together, and we uploaded all the presentation one time on the site. I prefer to do this if we do have enough fund. Thank you so much.
Well, it sounds really exciting that there'll be at least, well, if we get the funds, there'll be at least 3 more languages and maybe 4. So
Yes, I hope so. I hope so. Thank you. Thank you.
wonderful, Jihan. Any other questions? I'm not seeing any in the chat. I'm not seeing any hands go up, and I'm not seeing any in QA. So if not, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Evelyn to talk about celebrations.
Yay! Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm here to talk about the wonderful celebrations that Research for Life is turning 25. And so we have a few things in the pipeline to celebrate, and I'd like to share that with you. Next slide, please. So this is about our story, and it starts with the fact that global challenges require global solutions, and it's increasingly recognized that research equity is central to achieving the SDGs. We've been doing this work and have been at this intersection for 25 years, and it's worth celebrating. We've built something together that is quite remarkable. We have content from 185 publishers. We have 12,000 institutions registered across 120 countries, and we have reports that evidence our work. So this anniversary is really a moment to amplify what we've achieved together. And it's not just a moment to look back at what we've done, but also a moment to create momentum for the next 25 years. And we feel that every member of this Research for Life community has a role in telling the story of our shared impact. And we're being, from the communication standpoint, quite intentional in trying to ensure that different community members can see themselves reflected in our stories and what we're putting out. So I want to talk to you about what we've created. Next slide, please. We have prepared an anniversary logo and a set of visuals and messagings that are available on the Research for Life website. I've included the URL here. We are also currently building a library of stories to show the impact of our work from librarians, from researchers, but also perspectives from publishers and registered institutions. We've mapped different moments across the year that we'll be gathering around. The GPM, the Global Partners Meeting, is happening in July in Geneva and will be hosted by WIPO. And the Action for Equity conference will happen again and will be a side event of this. But we also will be participating in key conferences across the publishing calendar, and are applying for different award nominations to recognize the impact of our work. Next slide, please. This is just a roadmap to show what we have planned and what is coming. This is actually this meeting today, the official launch of the campaign. So firstly, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who's already participating. I've seen and heard stories of our logos being used, the anniversary logos being used on T-shirts by Country Connectors, being used in materials, also on social media. I've seen some registered institutions applying those visuals that are on the Resource Hub. So thank you so much for already participating. We are also publishing stories. So our Resource Hub is will house the library of stories, and we are already populating that. As I mentioned, the general partner meeting will be the centerpiece for our celebration. And then into 2027, we are observing the second milestone moment for Research4Life. So content was first made available in January 2002. And so we'll be reigniting our celebrations again early next year. And as the year progresses, we'll take into account everything that we've built, all the relationships that we have strengthened, and incorporate that as part of how Research4Life operates and communicates moving forward. Next slide, please. So what is your role? We really would like you to help us in participating and celebrating this milestone. We are currently gathering stories from across the community. You may already have been contacted to participate in some interviews. If you have, please do share your experiences and perspectives. We also welcome any endorsements for this anniversary. Show your support for the shared mission. Perhaps you could write a statement or put out a story on your channels. The Resource Hub I mentioned earlier has ready-made visuals. Here to the right, you'll see screenshots of that. So please do feel free to download those and share them, as well as the shareable messages that we've put together. They might suit your voice, and if you feel you need to adapt those, please do. But also share the stories that we're curating within your networks and channels. And if you do, we request that you use the hashtag R4L25, and this will help us connect all the conversations that are happening around this anniversary. And finally, we invite you to join us at the various key moments, either in person or virtually. The plans are still being developed, and we'll communicate those as they firm up. I see Kimberly has emerged. I'm assuming my time is up.
You have one more minute if you have one more slide.
This is my last slide. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. Well, that is an exciting set of things just to reflect on 25 years. That's a lot of time, but also what is going to be happening throughout this coming year as we do the celebrations. Does anyone have any questions for Evelyn about how you can help contribute to the drumbeat of news on the 25th anniversary, or reflections on 25 years that you're prompted to share at this particular moment, you can write in the chat, write in the Q&A, raise your hand.
Whilst questions come through, I would like to point out the question of translating the training material also applies for translating some of these visuals and messaging. So currently we have English and Spanish version on our website, and we're working towards having assets translated into French, and we'll aim for Portuguese and Arabic too, to make it inclusive for the whole community.
Wonderful. Not to put her on the spot, but I do see that we have someone who was here at the very, very beginning, 25 years ago. Barbara, would you be willing to turn on your camera and just wave at everyone? Barbara was the one who launched all of this more than 25 years ago, actually. Oh, thank you. So we do have someone who was here at the very moment the idea occurred. And so that is where we all got started.
Oh, wonderful, Barbara. I was reading the interview that was put together for the 20th anniversary, and thinking how we could make use of that. I'm so glad you're on the line. I will be reaching out to see, to follow up on how we could talk about the origins of Research4Life and to align with this year's celebrations. So wonderful to have you on the call.
I'd be happy to help with that any way I can.
Oh, wonderful.
We do have a question in the chat from Sushanta, who's also one of our speakers. If you just want to unmute yourself, Sushanta, and ask it, you can.
And many congratulations, to the communications effort. We're really looking forward to this campaign. And, my question is if you could give us a sneak peek into some of the planned feature stories that you intend to do, offering support, offering any help in terms of outreach or, putting some of this together. But would love to hear if there are any plans around some of these impact stories which could be carried to various funders or, publishers that we engage with. Thank you.
Oh, definitely. Thank you, Shant, for the question. We we do have publishers who are actually contributing with testimonials and perspectives. In the resource hub, the URL, so research4life.org/R4L25, there's a drop-down menu there with stories from our community. Already there, we've begun populating stories that are coming through. And so we have stories from some of the very first users of Research4Life. It was beautiful to hear how Geeta, traveled all across Nepal, sharing that with her colleagues that Research4Life had been made available, and her what she calls greatest moment of her career, becoming a Research4Life master trainer after many years of working together with our captive team and especially Lenny. So the stories are emerging and developing, and they will all be hosted on that sub page. We also have some great stories. There was one published yesterday in English and also in Spanish from El Salvador about Dr. Tatiana. Please, I forget her surname, but Dr. Tatiana, who is currently training 150 undergraduate students on using Research4Life for a poster presentation that's coming up, and with the hope that they may publish some of that research that comes out. So there's great stuff already emerging. I look forward to seeing what more stories we publish.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. And with that, again, if you have further questions, etc., you can put them in the Q&A and Evelyn can answer them there. But we're going to move on to our final set of speakers, Michael and Sushanta, who's going to talk about how you can help in general through the fundraising approach.
And just before they kick off, I wanted to just have a word or two to thank Martina and the Frankfurt Book Fair team. They've supported us for the second time in 2025 with a stand, and last year a speaking slot. Nasra joined me at the book fair, and it was amazing to have that profile lifted up in front of so many publishers. We're delighted. I met Martina yesterday at London Book Fair. I'm delighted that we're going to have a stand again this year. And look out for anniversary celebrations at the fair in October. And with that, I'll hand over to Sushanta.
I think I'll take over at this point. And if we go to the next slide. The first most important thing is to say thank you to the publisher partners that have supported us financially. It's huge for this organization, which has always had a very small budget, to be able to do things like country connectors and expand in ways that we haven't been able to in the past because of the financial support that we're getting from our publisher community primarily. So thank you very much to all of the organizations that have provided those donations. Next slide, please. So just very quickly, why do we need your support? I think this is really important for people to understand. You heard earlier from Lise that we have a budget shortfall this year of about $107,000 US. That's pretty substantial for an organization like ours to have a shortfall of that magnitude. We are trying to do a lot with the advent of things like you heard earlier with Rise 360, the GPM, where we're trying to bring more of our people to the GPM, the country connectors in particular, to come to the GPM to talk about what their experiences are on the ground. These are critical things for our organization to be able to pull together. We also have a lot of things that we're trying to do from a technology perspective. And just so you know, from a technology perspective, we, on day one of our budget, our technology budget is already spent on just simple licensing, things like that. This is a technology-based organization. We can't do it without the technology and our infrastructure with things that are coming up like AI, that we need to be doing things to be able to adapt those technologies into our portfolio. We need to be able to get funds to be able to make those things happen. We need to be able to expand things like the country connectors, which has been hugely successful. We see an amazing amount of connection to the user communities, the ambassador networks that are created out in the countries that we already see. We need to be able to expand that and also expand our educational curriculum. One of the things that we keep hearing is that we need more. It's not just about providing access to information. It's about education. It's about the connections between, as you heard Lisa say earlier, the connections between south to south, where we're trying to create those connections. The only way to be able to do that is to have the infrastructure in place that enables that. That requires a lot. But it's not just one-sided. One of the things that's very important when we look at is that we want to know that you're getting something out of this too, particularly for our partners who are in this space, who are, want to build connections throughout the world. This is really important because what we're doing is we're creating a community. And that community creates familiarity over the long term. We create those relationships they're going to build over many years. We've already been doing this for 25 years. Some of the relationships that we see between our community members are lifelong, and they continue to grow. And it builds trust over the long period. I think this is really important. And the more we invest, the more that our partners invest, the more we can do, and the more robust this infrastructure becomes. We are able to build the equity that we need. We get to enable peer reviewers in the global South. We get to do things where we're going to create editorial boards and other things that are really crucial to our publishers around the world and our partners. So these are the things that we're doing, is that these investments aren't just an altruistic investment. I mean, it is great to try to support what we're doing and our mission. But it's really growing the community because researchers over time, as we continue to feed that community, they will look for more research information. They will try to be more engaged. And as we create these relationships, this is crucial to us overall. So, and one of the things that I look at is there are very few opportunities in the world where you have an opportunity to invest in something that has the potential for such amazing impact around the world. We don't see that in most places. There are lots of places that you can invest your money and your time, but Research4Life, in my view, is one of the best, most potential places that you can invest. Next slide. So we'd like your support. We're looking for your support. We are trying to make it as easy as possible for you to support us. You can scan that QR code. We'll leave it up here while we're taking any questions that are out there, but you can also go to the Friends of Research4Life and click on the Donate Now button. But you can also reach out and connect to us at any point, and we're more than happy to talk to you about this. We need your support. It's crucial to this organization, and I can guarantee you that the investments that you make are going to expand what we're able to do and the impact that we have around the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. And we don't have a lot of time yet, but if someone had one question, or we could just say, thank you to all of our funders. And it seems like whatever you give is a multiplying effect on what Research4Life is able to accomplish. So I'm not seeing any hands. Sushanta has put the donation form in the chat for those who can see the chat. And also not seeing any Q&A. So perhaps now is a chance to just thank everyone who's come to this town hall. And I think there's one more slide. And are you covering that, Sarah?
Yes, I suddenly thought of an opportunity to remind people about what's going on and what's coming next. But thank you to everybody. It's been wonderful to hear this whistle-stop tour through the range of work that Research4Life has done. And you have to know there was probably another complete deck of other stories and different committees' work that I could have foregrounded in this town hall. So there's so much going on and it's so rich. I think it's wonderful to the kind of flourishing despite the budget challenges we have. But two really important things that I mentioned earlier. One is Global Partners Meeting. We've changed it from General Partners Meeting as a title. So that's 2.5-day sessions will be hosted. Very much thank you to Lise and co for hosting us at WIPO in Geneva. We felt we should go home to Geneva as the home of the launch of Research4Life at WHO. We'll be holding that hybrid online, but then also holding an Action for Equity half-day conference. And that's going to be, I think, a really interesting session and great lineup of speakers. So building trust in evidence for social impact. And I can't really think of anything better that we might do for that session and so important to the missions of most publishers. So thank you again. It's been wonderful to host you here today. And if you've heard lots that you want to know more about, reach out to anybody on the call or come. I'm very happy to hear from you. Thank you and have a good rest of the day.